Hey there, welcome back to the channel where we tackle coding problem with a calm and clear approach. Today we are going to explore a popular problem, finding the majority element in an array. The problem is all about identifying the element that appears more than half the time in a given array. It's a concept that might seem simple at first glance, but let me show you why this is such a powerful problem to solve. And of course, we'll break it down step by step, walking through a C-sharp solution together. I remember when I first came across this problem, I thought it was just about counting how many times each element appeared. But as I dug deeper, I realized there is a much more efficient way to approach this. Imagine an array like this one. You can see that the element 2 appears more than half the time. The challenge is to find the majority element, the one that appears more than n by 2 times, where n is the size of the array. We are guaranteed that there will always be a majority element in an array, so we don't need to worry about edge cases where no majority exists. Our task is to find, and we'll do it with a clever algorithm that uses a very cool concept called the Boas-Moore voting algorithm. Now I know that you are thinking, Boas-Moore sounds complex, right? But trust me, this is one of the most elegant solution for finding the majority element, and it's incredibly efficient. The beauty of this algorithm is that it solves the problem in linear time with just constant space, no need for extra data structures, and it's perfect for large arrays. Step 1, we start by selecting a candidate for the majority element. Step 2, we maintain a count which goes up when we see the candidate and goes down when we see a different element. Step 3, if the count hits 0, we switch the candidate to the current element and reset the count. At the end of the loop, our candidate will be the majority element. It's kind of like an election where each element votes and we keep track of the leading candidate. Let's jump into the C# code now. We'll implement this step by step. I'll explain you what each part is doing. Alright, let's break this down one line at a time. We define a class solution with a method majority element that takes an array num as input and returns the majority element. We initialize the first element of the array num0 as our initial candidate. We also set the count to 1 because this candidate has at least one vote itself. We start a loop that runs through an array starting from the second element index 1. If the current element num_i is the same as our candidate, we increment the count because we have found another vote for the candidate. If the current element is different from our candidate, we decrement the count. If the count reaches 0, we update our candidate to the current element and reset the count to 1. This means the current element becomes our new potential majority candidate. Once the loop finishes, we return the candidate because by this point it has to be the majority element. Now let's walk through an example. We see this in action. Suppose we have the array. We start with the first element 2 as our candidate and an count of 1. As we move to the second element, it's also 2, so we increment the count to 2. Next we hit 1, which is different from our candidate, so we decrement the count to 1. We encounter 2 more ones and the count eventually drops to 0. At this point, we switch our candidate to 1 and reset the count to 1. As we continue, we find another 2, and since the count was reset, we switch our candidate back to 2. Finally, after processing the entire array, we return the majority element, which is 2. This approach works because the majority element by definition appears more than half the time in the array. Even though we change the candidate as we process the array, the majority element always gets enough vote to survive the count resets and emerges as the final candidate. And that's it. We have walked through the Boas-Moore voting algorithm step by step. And as you can see, it's a powerful and elegant solution for finding the majority element. It's always great to find solutions that not only works but are also elegant and fast. If you find this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe for more coding tutorials. Until next time, happy coding.